Yo, we're live in the making of.
What's up? What's up? Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Bro, it's good to see you. I haven't. It's been a minute, right?
It has been a minute. It's been like, I want to say, when's the last time? Like a month or so. I'll see you again this weekend.
Probably late April.
Right, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'm leaving the 17th now.
The 17th. Wow, that's back to Chicago.
June 17th. Yeah.
Back to Chicago.
My rent, or my apartment. I have to move out, but I'm staying with a buddy in Battery Park. So yeah, should be calm, dude. But it's nice. He's going back to China, so I'll have my own apartment. I got a dog walking gig too.
Wait, you did that like a long time ago. Kunal told me about that.
Yeah. I'm just like, dude, it's. And like I made a reel on this too.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna get like $400 to watch a dog for 4 nights.
Dang, whose dog are you watching?
Yeah. Shout out my mentor.
Yeah,
Shout out my mentor.
Fair.
But dude, dog walking's like it's so awesome because it's like I don't have any responsibility with a dog.
Right.
Gotta walk it. I get to spend time with it. I love it. I get to stay at their place in Soho.
Is that a nice place?
I mean, dude, it's like rent's like $6K, but you don't even got in-unit laundry. It's like, come on, bro.
You win some, you lose some.
It's really nice though, but I'm just like, I would never pay something like that.
That's hard. Without even, it's kind of crazy actually. Is it the high rise?
No, it's like, you know the REI store?
Oh, yes.
It's like right over there. It's like right across the street, so.
Okay. Not a bad location though.
Yeah, it's a great location, but I'm just like, dude, like, you could get my place. I'm gonna miss the skyline, bro.
It's your place already. How long have you been there? Like how many, countably finite number of times?
Yeah, dude, it's beautiful. You know? But yeah, I'm staying for Tech Week.
Yes, dude, that's next week. And I met Horatio.
How was he?
Amazing. Yeah, super cool. Met him for coffee. We chatted about like a couple different things, honestly, but super cool guy. Love him.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it'll be great. Like meeting investors and everything. Are you doing anything for Tech Week?
Personally, we were gonna host like an event potentially, like a bots and bevs event. In the end, we chose not to against it because we're prepping for our own like internal deadlines for like our deployments, right? So we didn't have the time to like get stuff ready. But like the bots and bevs would have been like, we're gonna have a bunch of robots serving a bunch of beverages and everything's gonna combine and do a whole event, which would be really nice. Yeah, but it's like a certain amount of time that goes into like setting something like that up. Yeah, so we're like maybe not. But we'll be attending a bunch of events and stuff.
Yeah, how are you like? Because I'm like thinking like, I'm honestly like with the startup I'm doing, I'm not gonna try to raise obviously. Maybe eventually. Yeah. But I'm just like, I don't need money. Obviously, a robotics startup. It's like you need money.
I think robotics is very capital intensive. I think it depends on where you're in. Like as a SaaS company, just if that ends up being the direction you go down, I feel like the ideal goal is like, as a startup is like you never really need to raise. That's the most ideal goal. Like you never need to raise, right?
Yeah. Friends and family. It's just so expensive to raise.
Yeah. But if it comes down to it, I think having the connections is still really useful.
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to some hackathons and just like chill and just meet people. Also, it's like free food, bro.
That's all. I know there's a couple hackathons happening. There've been so many that have been happening very recently.
I know, dude. I never like. It's so fun. And like, I know we were talking about this earlier, but
yeah,
AI is just that democratizes any idea, bro. Like
it does.
You literally want to build anything, like.
I do like that. Like back in the day, like a CS degree would have been, or not even a CS degree, but like CS education of any kind would have been the moat to you being able to do anything in the tech field. Period.
Yeah.
That moat's been somewhat limited, I'll say, which is kind of impressive. I don't like it.
Yeah, 100%. And like I showed you, obviously, I'm not technical at all.
Yeah, but
I can debug stuff now a little bit, but it's like, dude, I could have never have made the software that I'm building right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's unbelievably impressive. It's even if regardless, I think it's really, really cool. I feel like it boosts your throughput like I'm not gonna say like 100x, but like depending on like the type of like agentic engineer you are. I think that's what they call it now. So in vibe coding people refer to it as like agentic engineering. Which is like, fair. I get it. But it really does boost your productivity by like honestly like I want to say like 10-20x like depending on like you've seen like I think Jensen Wong was like saying in like his some sort of sub podcast. But he was like, if you're an AI engineer, you get $250K a year. If you're not burning through like at least double that, like $500K in like API equivalent like compute costs, you're not doing a good job.
100%.
And I was like, wow, that's a high bar to hold something, 500K in like cost. But like you could burn through that. I met people who do that.
Oh yeah. I just learned about what it wrapped or warped maybe.
Warp is a
It's like a terminal. Yeah.
Yes.
I just learned about that now, and
Really?
like now because I'm a newbie to it. But I'm like, I have like 4 different terminals going on, different things at the same time, and it's just like, I have the Claude Max Pro plan. It's $200 a month, and I'm like 75% done for my week already, and I'm like, oh crap, like, am I gonna have to pay for more? That would kind of suck.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna do, so I think I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
That's fair. That's fair. I actually used to use Warp. I stopped using Warp because I started using Claude Code because I felt like it had the same like terminal ability.
Well, I have my Claude Code on Warped.
Fair, sure. It's also possible. Yeah.
I just like, it's so fun, like building, like it's genuinely so addicting. Like I'll be up till like 2 a.m. every night. I know you're doing it. Like you obviously have like a technical background.
I mean, but the schedule, I guess we're running I'm not gonna say it's like the classic, like, you know, like the SF schedule of 996. I'd say like 996, like 9 to 9, 6 days a week is like the SF schedule standard. For the most, like I'll say like if you're talking about like most big SF startups tend to be on that schedule. Not all, but like a lot. I'd say we're on that schedule too. We're 9 to 9 like every single weekday, and then on the Saturdays we're like remote, right? So it's like kind of.
I mean, you're working 24/7.
Effectively. I mean, like as a founder, you definitely 24/7. As like an employee, I feel like you still like depending on like how much you leave in the company, you'll definitely.
100%. Yeah, I think it's so fun too, where it's like, you know, you literally can. If you're not doing something, dude, you're not gonna get paid. You're not gonna get any money. Like, if you don't reply to the emails, like, no one's gonna be like, hey, you need to, bro. Like, so it's cool. But let's back it up. Let's hear about, you know, where you grew up and everything. Obviously, grew up in LA. I know that, but like, paint the picture for the audience.
Yes.
What you're interested in.
100%. No. I mean, you know, it's funny. I had like one goal my entire life. So I was born in Los Angeles, born and raised. Was in the valley, like in this place called West Hills. Very, very suburb area. Not really, you know, people call it the Staten Island of LA. Not inappropriate to say that, in my opinion. But it's a really nice place. I liked it. The whole thing was like since I was, I want to say like maybe 6 years old. 5, 6 years old. I remember like I wrote this little star when I was really young, like I want to be like a nuclear scientist. I just said it because it sounded cool, but like as I grew up, I think I like wrote that into like my will, like almost prophesized it because I wanted to do like physics since I was like 6, maybe 7 years old. And I don't think I ever like altered my mind. Like I didn't falter on that like even once up until like maybe like a year ago, I guess, right?
What was it about physics though?
I think that just at the very, very beginning, I thought it was just super cool, right? Like every single person would be like fascinated the moment you say the word like dark matter, or like string theory, like oh, this sounds super cool. So everyone's like, wow, that's like super, super cool. So I wanted to be the guy who like studies something super, super cool. And then like over time, I came to realize that like physics in itself actually is really like interesting. Like not necessarily just dark matter, like string theory, but like every aspect of it is like super, super cool. And so then I like kind of got more entrenched in it. I did my undergrad in it, alongside like physics and computer science. Did my master's in it, was going to do my PhD in it, and then I stopped the PhD and said, actually, reroute that
into robotics. Yeah. And what was high school like for you? How did you like it? Obviously, you went to Cal for undergrad.
Yes.
Or Berkeley.
Yeah.
What was kind of that like? Obviously, you did like physics and CS there. But
yes.
What was high school like?
High school was good. High school was I mean, I won't say it's very like out of the ordinary. I feel like it's a very classic pipeline. I was super into like math competitions, super into like physics competitions.
Were you good?
At math competitions? Yeah. I was decent. Like I was going to like the AME, I guess, but not like that. Not like exceptional. I'm not definitely like I wasn't in the IMO. I wasn't in myself like that. But I was like, you know, I went to the AME.
What is AME?
So when you do like this, the American Mathematics Competition, like the AMC, if you're like in the top, I think like a certain like percentile, which is like given by a cutoff and how many points you get. If there's like the AMC 10 or the AMC 12, you qualify to like the next exam, which is like the AME, which is the American International Mathematics exam.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, like, I don't think I ever made it past. But I also never like committed myself a lot to it. I just thought it was really cool and interesting.
Oh yeah.
But the physics was like the main thing I was super interested in. So like besides math, physics was like my main thing. And like had a really like short stint with chemistry, but yeah, just as.
You're going into high school, you love math, physics, all that.
I love math, yeah.
The nerd stuff.
Effectively. You're not wrong to say that, yeah.
What do you like? Where's your head at going to college? You're like, I'm gonna be a nuclear scientist. Like,
Yeah.
because like I feel like.
So
Yeah.
no, that's not fun. So high school, lots of physics, math. Going to college, only doing physics. Because I was compared to the fact that I was going to do my undergrad in physics, I was going to go and do my PhD in physics, and then I was going to go do a postdoc. I'll do maybe 1 or 2 postdocs, and I was going to go be a professor and do physics research for the rest of my life. That was like my life goal. I had already plotted everything out in trajectory.
Really?
We're done, honestly. Because like, right? And then I kind of like started doing CS, and honestly, if you think about it, like that might have been like the beginning of like the trend away from physics. Like, I started doing CS classes, and I was like, okay, I may as well just like toss on the major because like why not? It's interesting. I thought it was a really interesting like set of courses.
What did you think like was interesting?
I think the first class I took in CS was like a probability theory course, and like obviously like all of CS is not probability theory. There's like statistics maybe is like more inclined towards like that, but it kind of got me interested in CS and like the specific like I don't know like all the things you can do with it. The other thing was also like at the time I think like CS was a very impacted field, and like the like opportunity that would come from doing CS in like your undergrad probably had a higher EV than physics at the time. Now maybe you can make the argument against that for sure, but like at the time it seemed like it was like a very high EV option. Like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I think it's really interesting. I think that like CS can be applied to so many different domains and like a lot of different things with the requisite CS, even in physics. Like I was doing machine learning for physics, which means that you still need like a certain working knowledge of computer science. And so that kind of took me down that direction.
And did you have any internships, or were you like a research guy in college?
I was a big research guy. I did a lot of undergrad research at Berkeley, and then after that I had like a research fellowship at Princeton. I did a bunch of research.
Did you like it, the research?
I did. I loved it. So like I was publishing papers. That was like my main goal, was publishing papers. I started shipping.
First author?
Second author. Actually, like some of them were like collaboration papers.
Yeah.
One of them was like I guess a second author paper, but like it like also is like it was done by like last name. So like most papers in like high energy physics get like ordered by last name, not like first author, second author. But in CS, it's always like first author, second author, and it's like corresponding author, like project lead, etc. Right? But in high energy physics, it was always ordered by last name.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was just to like.
What'd you research? Like, what was the coolest stuff you researched?
So like, I dipped my toes in like so many different things. Like one of the big things I did was like collider physics. I worked on a lot of machine.
What is that?
So collider physics is literally like when you take like beams of particles. So for example, in the Large Hadron Collider in CERN, Switzerland, you take like beams of like these particles and then you spin them together really fast in like a circle, effectively. And then you collide them together, and then there's like a bunch of debris that comes about, and then you can analyze the debris and then figure out a bunch of really interesting things and interesting properties about the particles that you collided or the particles that you created, and then maybe they further decayed. There's interesting things that come about. That's, for example, in 2012 how they discovered the Higgs boson, which is responsible, like broadly, like very like broadly speaking, for the existence of mass. They confirmed the existence of the Higgs boson in 2012, and since then they've been running a bunch of experiments. They've been increasing the energy of the particles that they collide. They want to build an even bigger collider called the Future Circular Collider, which will be super massive. It'll hit like 10 times the energy that we have right now in the Large Hadron Collider. So yeah, I did a bunch of stuff in collider physics and working on machine learning for that. I did a lot of work in dark matter searches, so searching for dark matter candidate particles.
Why did you like that though? Like, is it just like you thought it was interesting?
I just thought it was really interesting. So I like the math. So this is actually like shifting me away from like experiment as well. I like the mathematical formulation that like underpinned a lot of like like dark matter like theory, for example. I thought it was like, really interesting, and then I was like, oh, if we can like actually find this, that'd be super cool. Like when they first found the Higgs boson, that was like one of the biggest things in the world for like a very short time, of course. But like in 2012, it was like a very big thing that they discovered the Higgs boson. This is responsible for the existence of mass. It's like the biggest thing that we could have like one of the biggest things we could have like done in physics. Yeah. And so I just thought that was interesting, like being a part of like a discovery of that nature. So I was like, oh, dark matter searchers, and then eventually that like led me down to like theory. And so I got really interested in like specifically the theory of something called like the strong nuclear force, which is one of the 4 fundamental forces, and like quantum chromodynamics.
Explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
So the gist of it is there's these fundamental particles in the world called quarks, and these quarks effectively make up like the particles that you would know. So like a proton or a neutron is made up of up and down quarks. So an up quark has like a plus 2/3 charge, a down quark has like a negative 1/3 charge. So you can imagine if you want to make a proton, it's kind of like I have 2 plus 2/3 and 1 down 1/3. So it's like plus 2/3 minus 1/3. That equals plus 1. And then similarly, you can do the same for the neutron.
Cool.
And then you get these generations of quarks, and basically the idea is you can kind of glue together, like these quarks can kind of come together and make these more complicated composite particles, baryons, mesons, all these really, really interesting particles that have very, very interesting properties. And then these particles themselves can also interact with, like, for example, dark matter, theta dark matter candidates. All the like interesting things, in my opinion, come about. Not all, but a lot of things come about from quantum chromodynamics. And it's also the least understood field. Well, least and maybe most understood. It's like most studied, maybe arguably least understood, in my opinion.
Makes sense. It's there's so many big questions. So
you're doing research in Berkeley. You know, you end up graduating. You go to Cambridge.
Yes.
What was the
move behind that? Did you have any full-time job offers or
I was, it's funny, I was literally starting interviews for a bunch of places, and then I quit the interview processes for a bunch of different places because I was like, it's not worth my time, I'm gonna go do. So maybe I can backtrack a bit, right? So I went to Cambridge because I wanted to study math, and I was told by many people that Cambridge was this boot camp for math to prepare you to do a PhD in physics. It says, okay, I'm gonna go to Cambridge, I'm gonna do my master's, I'm gonna study a bunch of math and physics, I'm gonna get ready for this PhD that I'm going to do for sure. Literally 2 months into my in my master's, I'm talking to Naman, who's my co-founder, and he's talking about.
And how'd you guys meet?
So Naman and I met. Actually, backtrack more. Berkeley, sophomore year, Berkeley, we met. Literally, we were going to a party together, and that's how we met. And
you guys were just boys.
Just boys, literally. We just talk about stuff that we were working on, and we start hanging out every single day, and then we meet all the time, and we just got super, super tight. And then our senior year, we actually tried starting a company. So maybe this is a little bit of a pivot, right? So our senior year, we tried starting a company, but that company kind of failed. It was kind of a competitor to Square or Toast, basically a POS sales system. It was supposed to be AI integrated into an AI waiter and also a POS system, because a lot of the POS systems, they take advantage of a lot of small businesses that exist right now, the space. Toast, in my opinion, maybe not in my opinion, but kind of does that a little bit. Square does that.
Where it's how much they take? How much they take from them?
I can't remember now exactly what it was, but it was compounded fees. So Stripe itself took a fee, for example, right? Then on top of that, Toast took a fee.
They're getting 90% or whatever it is.
It was a relatively big margin when you did the full calculation in terms of the end profit for the actual restaurant versus what they lost, or how it impacted their profit margin. And that's we talked to a bunch of different restaurants about, and we were actually going to literally deploy our product into a restaurant in Sunnyvale. It was an Indian restaurant.
Oh wow. What happened?
Honestly, so that restaurant went through a bunch of renovations, and then in the end we couldn't deploy. And then by then I'd already gone to the UK, and I was okay, well then we can't do this.
Wow.
But we were still chatting about a lot of things. So at the same time, Naman immediately went to go be a VAC. He I think a couple of times when he was doing due diligence for some AI companies, he would talk to me about some of the stuff, because I'd done a lot of AI research or machine learning research, and so we would chat about some of the state of AI, basically, is my best way of putting it.
And this was 2024, and that was probably AI is baby new. People are using it. ChatGPT, very basic, but not
Yeah. There's definitely no agentic stuff is not out. It's I think this is the GPT-4 era, honestly.
Okay. It's crazy. That's not even that long. We're on 5.5 now.
Exactly. It's crazy. So I did so that whole thing, basically we started talking about the state of AI, how people are just trying to scale things up to be really, really big, and how that's not the correct approach, how there's more efficient and scalable architectures that exist, and how there needs to be more research done in terms of foundational model companies. A good example of a company that does this is Cartesia, which works on state-based models, for example. For it's a voice AI company, but they work on a different class of model. So one of the biggest things for LLMs, you take these transformers or decoder only transformers, and then you scale up to really, really big parameter sizes, and then just scale up the amount of data that you train on proportionally, depending on some scaling law association or proportionality constant, and then just do that. But the argument we're making is that there's actually a more efficient, scalable architecture that exists out there. And then, I think an example of a company that we talked about was Liquid. So there's a company called Liquid AI that runs this completely new class of neural network called liquid time constant neural networks. And they made a very, very efficient and scalable architecture, from what it seems at least, that it rivaled a 35 million parameter, I think it was Llama something with like a.
I've heard of Llama.
Yeah,
like
so,
Facebook, I think.
Yes, Facebook Llama. So Facebook Llama, it was like a 7 billion parameter llama compared to like their like I think something 100 million parameter model.
Wow.
And it was like on a couple of benchmarks, really most benchmarks it like outperformed, and it was like okay.
Crazy.
So we kind of took inspiration from this idea of liquid time constant networks, and we started making our own neural network. Kind of like took inspiration from that, built our own like neural network. Did a bunch of research in association with this Georgia Tech CS professor, Sriram Vishwanath, and it culminated in a lot of really interesting research. We benchmarked it on a couple different things, trained it on a couple different data sets. It went really well, and the model that we had was really, really good at understanding temporal dynamics. And so temporal dynamics is just like kind of like causally understanding how things change over time. So like, for example, like this state of the world will like change with time, and how it changes with time. There's like a function that is dependent on time, and so if you can learn that function approximately, then you can approximate how the world can evolve with time. And so that was the argument that we were making for like using this network for, at the time, this concept called world models, which is a very loaded word now, and a lot of people use it. But the idea was basically we can make a model that can ideally understand the world really, really well, and like how it changes.
It's crazy. I don't even know. Like, it's crazy, the world. How
Bunch of changes now, dude. It's like I feel like every single day there's.
Yeah, and there's definitely some things you just can't model. Like weather itself is like an example of chaos theory. You can't model that.
Yeah.
But there's some things that you can model, like gravity, for example. That's something you can model, and then you can use that to power robots, which is kind of how we snowballed our way over where we are.
Yeah. Oh, so how did you like your time at Cambridge while you were there for your master's?
I liked it a lot, actually. You know what's funny? I was working so much on this that like I feel like I completely walked out of like the actual like coursework associated with Cambridge. I definitely obviously like, studied like the finals, all that, studied all the physics and math and whatnot. It was amazing. I loved my time there. The UK is great too. Love the UK. But I was so focused on this company and everything that I probably didn't get as much out of the experience as I had initially intended to going into the program.
I mean, that's how it goes, though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, if you're fully bought in on something like this. So you guys are working with the Georgia Tech professor, you and Naman are figuring it out with this neural network. And do you have any idea of, like, oh, it's going to go into robotics? Like, are you guys also, like, is Claude Code still a thing? Or
it is a thing, but it's, like, a very, very, like, elementary phase where it's, like, it's not that good. No one thinks it's that good. I think this is literally when it just came out, actually. I remember because I got the Gemini CLI, and I was using Gemini before I was using Claude Code.
Oh, wow.
But
no one uses that now.
I know, right? It's crazy. But at the time, I think we were exploring a bunch of different options. It's crazy. We started looking into F1. We were looking into like this like neural network and like learning like temporal dynamics for like F1 cars, and like optimizing like different like geometries for like different like meshes and seeing how that changes the airflow. We were looking into
makes sense.
Yeah, right. Like anything and everything that you can imagine that like you require an understanding of like how things evolve with time, we tried to apply it to. So CGI was like a big one where like you can kind of like literally generate videos or like continue videos. Like if you were like Google's Flow Studio, I think they have like a new one that came out recently. But like it's basically where you can like do like Hollywood tier movie editing with their models. And so that was one thing we looked into.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of things like that. Also, there's another company that worked on like Minecraft world models. Literally making like a AI Minecraft that you can like if you interact with the world, like AI generates what happens as it goes.
That's crazy.
There's someone who made like a GTA version of that. It was like GTA 5 but like AI.
When's GTA 6 coming out? The world's gonna end before then.
Literally, it's you'll get to the center of the Tootsie Pop before that.
Dude, I'm happy honestly. We don't have like. I honestly like don't think I could ever play it. Like I don't think I could ever get like an Xbox because I'd probably be hooked on it. You know,
that's
like,
honestly. You know,
it's too busy.
I haven't.
You're a PS5 guy?
You know, I had an Xbox growing up.
Really?
I played Assassin's Creed 4 like all the time. I loved it.
I didn't play that too much. I played like COD and all those games, dude.
I mean, I was addicted to like PC games mostly. I was a CS:GO addict.
Oh, I never played, but I'd always watch like people play.
Really?
Yeah.
I was trying to go pro so bad.
Really?
I really, you know, oh my god, that's crazy. Random lore drop, but like prior to any of this, my like first original goal when I was like maybe 12 or like 13, aside from like obviously loving physics, which I did the whole time, I wanted to be a CS:GO pro.
Really?
Yes.
Did you make any money ever?
We did, Yeah. I mean, like $100 in a tournament. I forget which tournament it was. It might have been SIVO. It was like a very like small league, but it's like I was trying to go pro. Maybe made it to like at best tier 3, 2.
That's
maybe.
it's pretty crazy.
And then Valorant came out, and I tried to go pro in Valorant, and then that also didn't work out because I believe.
Dude, that's so funny. I just played. Do you ever play Fortnite?
I did when it first came out.
Were you good?
When it first came out, and before people started living 5-star hotels, like it was nobody's business. Yeah, but then people learned how to build, and then it was just like an aim battle.
Yeah.
Then I lost now. Yeah.
Dude, those were the good old days.
Box like a fish.
Yeah, totally. Cool. So you guys are, trying to figure out this idea. You end up looking through F1, looking through, CGI. You end up coming on robotics. Like,
Yes.
what are you guys even thinking now? Like, that's such a big.
Yeah. At the time, it was the most underutilized thing in robotics. So like the concept of like world models or just like making these models. So like at the time, people were trying to understand the world via static representation. So my best way to put it is, for example, like a VLM or like a vision language model that exists right now can process like images, right, which is like a static image. It's not moving. Or it can process language. But it's trained on this huge corpus of static images and text.
Like YouTube. It was
Kind of. So like most VLMs aren't necessarily trained on YouTube. They're trained on like some sort of like image text pairs. So like YouTube could be like, if you like pulled pictures from YouTube, you could theoretically do that.
Okay.
But like video models, for example, could be like trained on YouTube.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
What about Instagram? What about Instagram? Like, is all that data?
That's also possible. Like Instagram would like depends on like I don't know how privacy works in regards to like that. But
Bro, they sold everything to someone.
Yeah.
That's on the dark web somewhere for me.
Probably. But the gist of it is most models that existed out there relied on static representations to understand the world, and so we were like, okay, we can make a model that can understand how the world evolves. So for example, if a robot wants to, for example, catch a ball and understand that if this ball is moving, it's going to move in like a parabolic arc because gravity is going to act on it. It's going to slowly come down as it like moves forward.
Yeah.
Having a model that understands that gravity is going to act as a force on this object and it's going to slowly come down as it comes towards you means that maybe you can use that to like power a robot. And so like go figure, that's like kind of where the field evolved towards. We were on this wave prior to any of like the world models for robotics kind of existed. Sometime very, very early last year. I will say that towards the end of last year, people started coming out with papers on like world models for robotics, and we literally hopped on maybe like 6 to 8 months before that. Wow. So we kind of hopped on literally right before the wave started.
Yeah. And when is this again? Like just time-wise for everyone.
So Masters ended like 2025. I came here in July. We were doing a bunch of research even before that, and so.
And you're researching how this can be applied to robots.
That's like
how do you even do research?
It's honestly the best way of putting it is like you read a bunch of papers and those papers give you like different ideas, and you, like each paper you read will like make you think about something, and you're like, okay, why is this happening, or like what can you do to like make this particular benchmark better? And like as you read more and more papers, you kind of have more and more. You'll like amass a bunch of different ideas, and you're like, oh wait, these two papers kind of correlate in some particular way. Or like I know that like this thing could work really well for like this one thing and that one for this thing. Can I merge them?
Would you like throw those like papers, read them, and throw them in a chat and be like, hey?
Yeah, I do it all the time. I do it now, honestly.
It's so cool.
Like one of the things that we do right now at our company is like we use Obsidian, which is like this cool tool that you can use to like. It's effectively like you can like you can link or like merge together all these papers into this one huge database. And it's not necessarily RAG, is the one thing I've come to learn. It's like kind of similar to RAG in some sense, like retrieval augmented generation, but it's like it'll go through all these papers and like understand the similarities and differences between all of them, and then you can use that to like say, oh well, these two papers kind of build into one another. What if like you kind of modularly took something from this paper and combined it with this paper, and maybe you can get like a better
whatever you're trying to figure out. Yeah, like I heard in like a lot of with AI, it's like it's bad PR, around it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, dude, you can put these papers together to synthesize to create the future, but a lot of it's just like really bad PR around like AI is gonna take your job and all of this, and like, hey, you actually can build a future.
Sure.
That's super cool. So you're doing the research, you're 6 to 8 months ahead. you moved to New York. Have you guys incorporated then? Have you done anything actually? Like what?
Yeah. So I moved to New York. So no one's already living in New York. I moved to New York in July.
This place that we're in?
No, not this place. I was literally living on his couch actually. I moved to New York. I'm living on his couch. I'm like bumming, slumming it in Little Italy. And I'm doing like work all day, every single day for whoever knows how long, because I'm trying to like do as much research as I can. So like research also comes from like a bunch of like the inspiration comes from like a bunch of different areas. Like the liquid time constant neural network, the guy who invented Ramin Asani, he got the inspiration from the C. elegans worm and how that brain works. So he like literally re-architected the whole neural network to be like a partial differential equation, and it's like really interesting because he modeled it after biology. Like his whole modeling of the neural network was based off of biology. And if you read like there's like this like theoretical neuroscience book by like Day and Abbott, I think he's at Columbia. It's either him or I think it's Day and Abbott. But he also has like this like partial differential equation, this complicated like mathematical formula to describe how neurons activate in your brain. And he basically like if you look at like the formula that he has, it's very similar to the equation in the textbook. And so the idea was like you make a neural network that is literally modeled like biologically after like how a actual neuron operates in terms of like activation channels and things of that nature, and like gradients as like, you know, time goes on, because neuron activations vary with time. Okay. And so yeah, that was the gist of it. Literally drew inspiration from that, did a bunch of work on that. I was doing research like every single day, trying to like grind out as much as I can, because we'd already been working for a long time, and then a lot of it seemed really, really interesting. Come August, we officially incorporate, because a lot of the research that we've done kind of culminated into something that was like really, really interesting, because we trained on some data, tested on some benchmarks, that was super cool. And then around that same time is when we were approached. So no one was already a VC at this point, right? So he was approached by some of his friends, and they said that he should just like jump ship and kind of attempt to you know, like pursue the dream. Like he wanted to start a company, I wanted to start a company. The idea was like just jump ship. We can both jump our ship. Like I leave my PhD, he leaves VC to start this company.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of what ended up happening.
Fire. And now you guys you're living on his couch in Little Italy.
Yep.
He just quit his job.
I quit my PhD.
Yeah. What did your kind of parents think? Like his parents, like.
So I think both our parents may have been a little confused, right? Because his parents were like, okay, you quit a job to like do a startup,
making no money.
Right. So they were definitely questioning at the start for sure. But like I think the one thing I really like about parents is that they kind of have like an undying faith or trust in like what I do, irregardless of like whatever like rash decisions I may make in my life, and I'm sure I have made many. They have like an undying. I believe that what you will do, you'll do something successful.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like you going down the whole route of like physics and you're going to do a professorship and all that. Maybe you end up in like an industry job, whatever. They're still confident, and so I really appreciated that, right?
Yeah.
And so they kind of said, just do it. You know, like I mean, also I was at like a very young age where like it kind of didn't like. It's not that it doesn't matter, but I'm at a point in my life where I feel as though like the variability that comes with a startup does not really impact me as much as it would later on in my life.
100%.
And so I was like, you know what? Yeah, I think this is the right time. And obviously, we're not trying to start anything before.
Yeah.
No. It's like a continuation. It's like round two at that point. It's like, let's do it again.
100%. No, that's so cool. And like, yeah. You obviously know I make some reels, and that's like also what I tell people. I'm like, dude, if you can and you have your family that's gonna support you,
yes.
Because like, you know, to say how lucky and blessed we are, where our parents are like, okay, like, you're crazy, but we're gonna support you, is like. Yeah. I honestly personally think it'd be like a disservitude to them by not doing something like that.
Yeah.
Which is like, hey, worst comes to worst, like I can, you know, get a 9 to 5, pay my bills, but
you
it's
can,
like
I feel like worst comes to worst, you can like 100% just get a job. Oh yeah, you'd asked me about the research and internships. I was doing a bunch of interviews before I literally quit midway through the interview process. But yes, I was interviewing at like Jane Street.
Oh wow.
And a bunch of places. Like yeah, I was gonna interview for like quant places because I was doing like a bunch of math and physics. Like okay, if I don't do a PhD, should I just go into quant and see if I can just like
and get the bag?
In theory, right? I quit the interview processes like literally like as I was doing the research. But
I mean, that's cool though. It's like a lot of people, and like even myself, I fell into the trap where I was like, oh my god, like I want this job that makes me $150K a year right out of college.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, they suck. The jobs suck. They're not fun.
I have a lot of friends who are in quant. I'd say that they don't enjoy it a lot is my best approach. It's a lot of hours. I guess it depends on what firm you're at, but I think that's a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean,
So is a startup.
oh yeah,
But like maybe it's for the cause as opposed to like not as much.
exactly.
So.
And I like it too. It's like favorite thing is like you can be creative. Like I said,
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want. Where it's like, hey, like you have a friend coming in town. You got to go out. Like you can go out, but you know you're also going to be working all day Sunday and all day Saturday. You know, because it's like someone else's. You know what I mean? You have what, a 6 to 8 month lead on these other companies. Like you can't let them catch up to you.
That's true.
It's scary.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
It's a harsh reality, I think, for like most companies that like there's gonna be a company on your like tail end vying for your position.
Oh yeah. Especially like the incumbents too that are like slow. Like obviously with my startup, I'm just like coming for all the incumbent softwares that are slow, and
Which is valid. Yeah.
it's like so fun. But I'd be so scared if I were them. But it's like the way they roll out decisions and move. It's just like incredible. It's so fun. Okay, so now you're like incorporated.
Yes.
You're doing research.
Yes.
Now you're gonna hit up some VCs. I'm guessing like.
Yeah. So a lot of the VCs that like they were Nomad already like created a relatively like, strong network by this point in terms of like his own VC career, and so like the research that I'd done kind of interested a lot of the people because he'd been talking about it and I've been talking about it as well.
Yeah.
So we would kind of go on calls, kind of tell people about the research and work that we were doing, and people took a really, really strong interest in it, and so then it started garnering a strong amount of like VC attention, and so it was kind of off the back of that we started raising. Started going on calls with some people, started raising capital, and it got really, really interesting in that regard.
How was it raising capital? You know, was it hard? Like,
I feel like because we were somewhat piggybacking A off of like some prior connections and B off of like relatively strong research, I would say, or like relatively strong. Like it depends on how you like view it in perspective. But like proprietary research that was promising at least at the time.
yeah.
And even now, right? I think that made things a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think piggybacking off the fact that like it was the connections that no one had made. It made things easier for sure.
Yeah. No. Awesome. And you guys raised a bunch of money. Like, how was that when you were raising? Did you like it? Like, when did you decide to kind of like, okay, like we're done raising money? Like,
It's funny because at the very, very beginning, we were just going to raise about like 1 million. And then like kind of call it there and just say, hey, we should just like run with this and see what we can do. As we kind of got more and more attention, we kind of had the opportunity to raise more, and then we thought about it a little bit more and realized that like if we're actually going to commit to robotics, which is the direction that we were considering at the time, it's going to be a very, very capital intensive industry for us to jump into, and so you're going to need to be well capitalized. Even for like a very, very short runway, like 1 to 2 years, you still need a relatively strong runway capital.
Yeah.
And so that kind of pushed us to like it was like compounding, like the confluence of those two things is what pushed us to saying we should just raise like an additional like. I don't know if you really call it a pre-seed or a seed round at this point because you kind of tranche the rounds in some sense.
Yeah.
So pre-seed, seed, not really sure where you'd like consider the raise, but we raised an additional 8.5 million.
So what? Not 9.5 total.
About 9.5 million total. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How do you feel too? Like, we're like, oh my god, like, this is crazy. Like, they value my company at this because, I mean, you're 23, 24. Like, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
I will say, like, at first I felt a little unreal because, like, you don't really believe it's real until, like, you maybe see the money. And, like, as soon as you see the money hit the account, you're like, wow.
it's crazy.
That's real. That's, like, this is, like, all the real thing. And, like, as things, like, developed over, like, time, really past, like, what are, like, 6 to 8 months at this point.
Yeah.
Things became more and more real, and we were like, okay, yeah, this is like going to really be a thing. And then I think Gum and I both have very, very strong conviction in our company, and we're so confident about like how things are going to go that we would full send it to its absolute max.
Yeah.
Like we're very, very confident. Like not necessarily just like the company and ourselves, but kind of like the longevity of like everything that we are working on. Like robotics is like a field. I think it's just a field that kind of has intrinsic longevity. Like everyone's gonna be pouring money into over the next decade.
Oh yeah.
So
100%. I was just listening to this one podcast, the All In podcast, and it's just like, especially like with what you guys are doing in the factories, it's like how many people actually want to work in an Amazon factory where it's like, you know, the attrition rates are 30% for the employees, and it's like, it's probably a horrible job, you know what I mean? That's like a perfect spot where robotics come in and
Exactly. That's
take it over. And it's like you can repurpose these jobs for something else.
Exactly.
Or it's like who actually talks to truck drivers, you know, who are on the road
Yeah.
6 out of 7 days of the week. Like,
Yeah.
that would suck. I'm all in for cybercabs, autonomous vehicles, I hope.
I'm a big fan. I actually do like the idea a lot. There's a lot of reasons. I feel like there's a lot of social reasons that one would back that as well. But like also, yes, blue collar historically has very, very high turnover. I've seen that, like, we've been to a fair number of factories already. Yeah. I've seen the working conditions of like a lot of the factory workers that like it's not like a condition that anybody would really want to be in, my opinion.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So
and yeah, it's just like such a hard, brutal industry, and it's like you're working 12-hour shifts, you know, through the night. Like, who wants that job? You know, definitely. So how do you like even? Okay, so you guys get a bunch of money now. Like, what do you do from there? Like, how do you even like build a robot? You know what I mean? Like, how do you guys define your roles? Like, that stuff's like, you know, something you don't even understand.
It's true. I will say that like we have a good bit of I'd say there's like a fair amount of bleed over in terms of like our role and like the role of like a CTO or like CEO and whatnot is like I feel like the lines are a little blurred.
Is he CEO?
He's a CEO. I'm the CTO officially.
Yeah.
I think that's by proxy the fact that I was doing a lot of like the research and that kind of put me in more of a technical position, and he was doing like a lot of the intro calls with the investors and whatnot. He had the relationship already built out.
VC already.
It kind of the puzzle pieces fit themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like the pieces just were put together in like a particular way. That being said, I think like in terms of like robotics, we kind of had to onboard ourselves to a good amount of it, right? Like I had taken a fair number of like CS courses in Berkeley, and I'd like definitely done some robotics adjacent stuff, like deep reinforcement learning class at Berkeley, which is like great in terms of like introing you to robotics, but it doesn't make you a robotics expert. So in terms of like grinding and learning as much robotics as possible, that's kind of like we spent like morning and night all the robots, the software, robots, everything.
How do you learn in 2025? Like, because I don't know honestly.
Yeah.
Is it like talking to ChatGPT? Are you actually like pen and paper reading? Like, so how do you learn? Because I don't know how I learn.
It definitely depends on like your learning techniques. I'll say like there's some people who like they learn better by writing. Like there's like just like if you write like the friction of like the paper. It helps you like remember things. I will say that like AI-driven learning has got to be one of the greatest things of our decade.
Yeah.
Because you can learn practically anything because knowledge feels borderline infinite with an AI model. I mean, excluding hallucinations, excluding like whatever and everything, right? Literally chatting day and night with AI is one thing. Reading up every single like robotics book that is like foundational to the field. So like there's this book called Under Actuary Robotics by Russ Tedrick at MIT. There's this guy Alex Lynch at Northwestern who has this book called Modern Robotics, I believe. There's a couple other like foundational.
Do you talk to these
books.
people?
The professors?
Yeah.
I wish we could, but I feel like getting in contact with them would be like very, very difficult. So I've tried. I will put that out there right now. I have tried with a few professors. And I've gotten in contact with a couple, I will say. But some professors, like when you talk about like Russ Tedrick, who's like one of the most famous professors in the field of robotics, it's hard to get in contact.
Cold call. True people search.
True. I've sent emails out. I have sent out emails, but like it's hard to get in contact with like really famous professors, I will say.
Fair. With anyone too.
Yeah. But reading up like pretty much all foundational robotics textbooks, chatting with AI all the time, reading up research papers that are actively coming out and keeping up with the field is one of the biggest ones. And then I think all of that in conjunction in a very, very like compressed time span of like you just doing this grinding day and night all day, just learning everything and anything you can about the full stack of robotics, hardware, software, everything in between, even beyond, right? Like GPUs and as it like geopolitical relations as it pertains to like robotics and how that's going to impact the future, everything, like every single part of this.
Yeah. What was the hardest part for you to learn?
I'm going to say, I feel like the technical side is not that bad, but the technical side is what you have to know in this company more than anything. Like the onboarding is technical. If you're going to run a robotics company, you have to know everything about robotics, and that is inherently.
What's something that the average person wouldn't understand about robotics that is like super important for you guys?
Really random pull, but like specifically the degrees of freedom in the arms. It's like a really, really niche thing, but like there's like this really, really interesting trade-off between like having like an actual human arm, which is 7 degrees of freedom,
Yeah.
or a 6 degree of freedom arm, which kind of like it kind of looks like a pterodactyl arm. So I think this is one of the robots that we have out there.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of looks like a pterodactyl arm that can kind of like move move like this, and that's a 6-degree freedom arm.
Yeah.
One of the things is that like a 6-degree freedom arm is like the minimum number of degrees of freedom you need to like kind of reach anything that's sort of inside of a spherical like space.
Yeah.
7 degrees of freedom kind of gives you 1 extra degree of freedom that lets you like kind of like move around. So there's this thing called null space,
Okay.
which I'll tell you right now. Imagine you want to keep your hand is like your end effector. You want to keep your hand in this one position.
Mm-hmm.
Null space is how many ways can you effectively move your entire like joint configuration or your arm without changing your end effector position. So, for example, I can move my elbow like this whole like distribution of like elbow positions, right? But not change my end effector position of my wrist.
Okay.
This is what you'd call null space motion.
Okay.
And this is what 7 degrees of freedom introduces into your robot. In 6 degrees of freedom, you don't necessarily get this.
Okay.
When you like solve all like the mathematical formulas and like this whole thing like Jacobians and like solve like solutions, you don't necessarily get this whole distribution of like null space.
Okay.
So this is one like really niche fun fact that you can know about robotics. Maybe you can use it. I don't know.
That's not the next party I'm gonna go to. I'm gonna tell them that.
Yeah, talk about some null space and robotics and how like
People are gonna run away from me.
probably honestly. I never heard someone who like wants to hear about.
Hey, it's crazy though. I mean, okay, so you guys are learning all this technical stuff, but like, you need a business. You know what I mean? Like, how do you figure out what we're gonna do? Like, how are you gonna make money? Like, how do you even think about that?
There's like so many things that go into it, right? Like, are you gonna like be the company that sells the software? Are you gonna be the company that sells the hardware? Are you gonna be the company that sells the full stack? And I think like we eventually got to the point where we realized that like, you know, as prices for hardware go down in the future, as more and more software companies come out, as more and more software gets open sourced by a lot of the open labs that exist right now, it makes the most sense for us as a company to kind of sell this like full stack like robotic solution where you literally give someone like a human replacement. Effectively.
Yeah.
And so we kind of, you know, had to go through a lot of iterations of a bunch of different ideas until we eventually kind of landed on this like, concept like, oh, we're probably going to end up, you know, giving out humanoids as if it is like a human. As if it's like kind of like human labor is kind of what we're looking at.
That's awesome. And when did you like first, like how did you come, obviously like I know a lot of your robots are going to be in manufacturing, but how did you come after like, okay, we're going to do manufacturing, industrial type stuff? Like,
I think we kind of considered a couple different settings. I think just one of the biggest things is that manufacturing and a lot of the industrial settings are very structured by nature. Because they're so structured, it's much easier for you to deploy a humanoid or like any type of robot honestly in it.
makes sense.
The other option, of course, is like a lot of other famous companies out there. Sunday, as an example, one. There's a couple others like
What's
1X.
Sunday?
Sunday Robotics is like another like humanoid robotics company. They work on like a robot for the home.
Okay.
So there's the other like really big like aside from like you know industrial facing or just like you know manufacturing facility whatever.
Yeah.
Is home robotics. But home is very unstructured, and then you know like one of the things is like you don't necessarily have to have like 100% accuracy or like efficacy on like all the things you do in the home. There's a lot of like retry logic that you could have and like attempt to like pick something up again or like repeat or whatever. In like a factory setting that becomes less so the case because every time you repeat something you take more time to like saturate a line, and if you can't saturate their line they don't want your robot like in the end case.
It needs to be perfect.
Right.
And so then you can continue
Or perfect, exactly, yeah.
continually running without.
Yeah, like your second pick accuracy or second pick / place accuracy should at least be like 100. Should ideally be 100%, if not the first.
100%. And okay, what was the first time you actually ever bought a robot and like you saw it?
Oh my god, yeah, it's crazy, right? The first robot we bought was actually a dog. Because one of the things we were going to explain was like, what if we took the dog, we put like a robot arm on it, and we put like a little like a storage thing on the back, and said,
How much did it cost?
I think it was like, it was pretty expensive. I want to say it was like around $30,000.
Or you're just like, holy crap, we spent $30,000.
Yeah, that was like the biggest expense that we'd ever made in our entire life. That's the most money we've ever spent.
Yeah.
Personally and like just in the company.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And so we were like honestly like, hesitant to spend that amount of money. Then obviously like as like the company we were like, okay, do as many capex expenditures as like you see fit.
Yeah.
But the dog, we had like an interesting use case where we were gonna put like a little like bin on the back and put an arm on the back of it, and like one of the interesting use cases was you deploy it at a construction site and like it does a construction site cleanup. So it goes around and picks up like the whatever spare materials, brick, all the extra stuff that's like left over. The construction site puts it in this thing, goes over, puts it, repeat, all that.
Yeah.
Would have been a really interesting thing. It's just that I think that at the time the company that wanted this was in the UK, and we're like, okay, well we can't really like target something like that right now. Also, Europe has very strict regulations on just like technology broadly speaking.
That must That's another like huge like can of worms. Regulation.
Yes, 100%.
I would hate that. I hate regulation.
Even in the manufacturers in America, there's an obscene amount of regulation, and like rightfully so, honestly, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have to like qualify through all the ISO standards, and then sometimes there'll be internal standards, OSHA.
And it was SOC 2.
SOC 2 compliance is definitely a necessity.
What is that again?
So SOC 2 compliance is kind of
like
like
software, right?
Yeah, it's for software companies.
Because that's on my roadmap.
Exactly.
I'm like, I don't know.
I know it's like $250K to get down or something crazy.
If you want to get, I know like Dell is in like a super hot shit right now, right? Because they like frauded their SOC 2 compliance or something like that. It was something like this, right? I don't remember the specifics, but like I think we had like a couple friends that worked at Dell, and so we'd heard about this.
That's funny.
But yeah, the gist of it was it's like software-based compliance. And, like you only need it for your software company. At the start, we thought we would not need it because we were focusing solely on hardware, and then eventually realized because we're doing software and because we're going to deal with like consumer data and things of that nature, we do need SOC 2 compliance.
Yeah. Also, I just think like what I'm trying to do now is like owning the whole stack. You know, being like a horizontal software, horizontal company where it's like
you can lateral until
everything. I think it's only a matter of time until you build it out and like see it works. But yeah, that's awesome. So you bought the first robot, and like, just like, what do you like? Okay, so you do that, you realize, okay, not that. Like, you keep learning.
So at the same time, we actually bought our first like humanoid robot then too, and this was like a full body humanoid. Like it's like bipedal, so there's 2 legs on it. It's got 3-fingered hands. It's got like the whole shebang, right? This is the standard industry robot that you've probably seen all over the internet too. And it's like cool, it's very cool, it's just that it's not industrial. And that like the payload and how much it can take up is like, I think like 1 kilogram or 1.5 kilograms. So it can't do anything remotely useful. It's just a research grade robot that's meant for you to like do research on, and like you can like maybe further capitalize on that. But like there's nothing you can really do in terms of the industrial deployments with that robot for the most part. And so that's kind of what like took us away from that direction, honestly.
Okay, so you learned that, and then like what's next? And also, like, what do you do with these robots? Like after you realize, okay.
So the dog is actually still here, and we kind of keep it partially because like I think it's just like memorandum. Honestly, like it's like the first robot that we got is a little bit. Of,
how cool was it when you saw it move for the first time?
It was insanely cool, right? Like we saw the dog do tricks, we saw it do backflips, side flips, everything was insane. It was insane. It was amazing.
I forgot.
A little bit of memory.
Yeah.
And then the other part is also the dog could still be useful at some point. We would consider some use cases. Like, okay, we'll keep the dog. Also, it's a cool party trick animal as well. I'm not saying that you're keeping this dog for like. We've also been trying to sell it, to be clear.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, that we still have it, it's a cool party.
How's the robotics like? Is there like a site for that?
You can technically just list it on basic marketplace, but there's technically a lot of like research institutions and universities that will buy this off of you, and so like you can go to them and they'll buy it. So like the humanoid robot, like the humanoid robot we gave to a university in UCLA.
Cool.
And so
do they pay you?
No. So we kind of set up a research collaboration with them.
Oh, and they're okay.
So we kind of like gave them the humanoid robot and said we're going to do research with you. So like they had stuff that they wanted to do with it, and we're like, okay, we can work with you on that, like working on getting stuff up and running on the robot. That's cool. And then like after that, we kind of decided that we want to shift towards industrial robotics, and so we did this whole thing where like my co-founder went to China, went to Shenzhen, went to a bunch of cities in China, and explored the humanoid robotics in their huge scene.
I bet it's crazy.
Insane.
China's just like ahead of us and all that stuff.
It's an absurd, The one thing is also like China's like monopolies on like a lot of things that we need, like neodymium monopolies, which you need to make like actuators and like different robot parts. Because like all magnets require neodymium. And so then you get to this point where like anything and everything that you want is sourced from China. Tesla's robots, like everything is sourced from China. Almost every single human robot in America has all their parts sourced from China.
That's interesting and crazy to think like, obviously now with like Trump, his biggest thing is like, you know, we need to have all these like critical minerals in America, and I mean, it makes sense, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, say they don't want to give you this stuff, like you're almost out of the business, or you gotta.
Yeah.
Did tariffs hit you guys at all?
It did. Yeah, it did.
Really?
Yeah, tariffs kind of impacted all imports that come in from China.
So you actually had to pay extra?
So we did pay extra, yeah. It's disheartening. So the geopolitical relations do directly impact us as a result of the fact that like you rely on China for a lot of hardware.
That's crazy though. It's like I feel like more like to the general public speaking, it's like that's just something you like hear about. It's not actually real. You know what I mean? But
then when it like directly impacts you as like a business or like a company, you start to realize like, oh shoot, like wow, this geopolitical play a big part in like even our burn rate, right? Like if we kept buying if we kept on buying parts and whatnot from China and proceeded to continue doing this, like it would be a severe impact on our burn rate. Right?
Oh yeah.
Because of like the 30% increase on the whatever, how many millions you already plan on spending.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Cool. So now you guys are going into industrial robots.
You know, you have this idea. You're picking up some, you know, some speed.
Yeah. I went to CES in Vegas for a bit, and then I got to see all the humanoid robots there as well. So we kind of did this like divide and conquer strategy.
Cool.
We went to China, got to CES, we both saw a bunch of humanoid robotics companies, met everybody, met as much as we can, got our connections, came together, congregated, figured out what we needed to get, and then got it. We got the humanoid robots, and we said, all right, let's get software deployed, let's become a deployment-focused company. So I think as a company that does humanoid robotics, the thing that sets you apart from like whatever many players that are out there is like kind of what you will do. So there's some companies that are research-driven. There's some companies that are driven by like other means. I will say that the one that we're driven by is deployment. I think the biggest thing you can do in this like economy of robotics is deploy. You get a robot, you get some software function, you get it ready and functional to deploy in a factory right now.
Exactly, and just like from there you'll learn so much.
Exactly. You'll learn everything about the stack. You'll figure out the pain points of the factory and what they actually want from you.
Yeah.
You'll figure out all the certifications. You'll figure out the safety. You'll figure out how you can actually price this. You'll have like an actual customer experience. You'll have like a pipeline. And then on top of that, it also incentivizes you to hire, like, this is a new role that exists. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's like an FDE, like a forward deployed engineer. It's kind of like what a sales engineer used to be. And the best way of putting it is like someone who can interface with a customer and like go to a factory and deploy something, but they can also like not only understand the tech and deploy the tech and like do work on the tech, but they can also talk to people and interface with like businesses.
That's technically what I'm doing now.
Yeah, exactly. So FTEs are like the like peak, like in my opinion, one of like peak employee.
Oh yeah, where it's like I can talk to you about, hey, this is why it does this and that and the code and all that, but then it's like you can hang out with people, you know, and
exactly.
Go. Cool. So you guys industrial, you're growing your team now. I know you guys have what, like 5, and obviously you guys are Nirvana Robotics.
Yep.
Like, how is that like growing, like hiring, like you know, you're 20, what, you're 23 too, right? 24. So it's like in 9 months, probably what, 24 too?
Yeah, same age, yeah.
Like, it's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hiring is the reason I was like, it's one of the hardest things you can do in a company.
Yeah.
And if you hire the wrong person, that's like, it's not the most ideal situation you're in.
Yeah.
Right? You want to hire slow, fire fast is like the ideology that everyone gives you.
Yeah.
Take your time when you're hiring someone because like as soon as you hire them, you want them to be on like, you kind of want to be sure about the person. You don't want to have to fire someone, but if you do have to fire someone, get rid of them immediately.
Yeah. 100%.
But it's a long and arduous process from what I can tell you. Hiring has been one of the hardest things that you can do at a startup, and it's definitely one of the hardest things you can do here, I think.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Especially in a field where like, the talent is so sought after.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like you said, it's like so technical. Like I couldn't come into Nirvana and like I couldn't. I know nothing about robotics at all. Yeah, cool. Okay, so you guys obviously like what has kind of been on like the plate the last like 2 months, give or take. Like what has really been taking your time? I know you guys have some trials going on. Like
pilots, honestly, one of the biggest things for us is literally deploying robots into factories and getting ready to do those pilots. So overcoming all the safety regulations that we have to go through, like all the hoops and hurdles, all the legal, all of that, and deploying it on the past 2 months, and acquiring more customers because we're going to deploy more robots into more factories. Because the timeline by which like you go by to like deploy a robot into a factory goes through all the legal compliance, safety compliance, everything.
how long does it take?
The thing is, it really depends on the customer. It depends on how big they are, and
The bigger, the longer.
The bigger, the longer is the best way of putting it. And so it can range, honestly. It can be like 3 months to even a year.
Wow.
Yeah. From like the time by which like we want the robot in the factory to like the time by which the robot is in the factory, it can be up to a year. Which really does have an impact on a lot of things, right? Like if you have to wait a whole year to like deploy a robot, there's like a whole year we can capture as many customers as we can and sporadically just deploy robots, right? Like if we have the robots, we have the people. Do it. Just deploy, right?
And then it takes
however long. And how's is there a huge demand for you guys, or
Growing. It's definitely a big growing demand, right? Like I think a good example, this is like Xiaomi, the Chinese factory, which made the first dark factory ever in the world, produces 1 phone per second. There's no people in the factory. It's completely automated end to end.
That's terrifying.
It's crazy, yeah. It's a dark factory, but that also was what drove a lot of like factory owners in America, like manufacturing facilities, be like, okay, dark factories are not just like a foreign concept, like a really, really random idea. It's an actual thing that we can actually go after and have. And so a lot of people are like, okay, I want to push towards having like a dark factory. I want to factory produce as optimally, have the most optimal throughput. And so then there's like this whole resurgence of like reindustrialization in America, American dynamism, and then also just reshoring, right? Bringing manufacturing onshore. It's like onshoring everything. Before it used to be like offshoring, we take it to like Mexico, we take it to like China, we take it to India, we take it to these other third world countries where like, labor is cheap. Now we can do an end-to-end factory that is completely automated, and we can onshore everything. That's one of the biggest things, American dynamism. That like drives a lot of the VC investment in like robotics is one of the fields.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. And also just obviously like Trump, I know his agenda is
yes.
I totally agree with hey, I want to bring all this stuff to America. But also it's who knows how that goes in, 2028 or 29, whatever the next election is. That's a huge consideration. Ideally, it's in there and it's these companies are going to be investing, but obviously, you can tell with the VC money, it's you're going to invest where the president tells you to.
Effectively, yeah. And over the next decade, I know it's going to be robotics or effects.
Yeah.
100%.
And it's the future too, you know what I mean?
In every sense, honestly, it is. AI and robotics will dominate. Physical AI has been the biggest trend, I think. Post LLMs, post agentic AI, the next biggest wave is physical AI.
And that's robotics.
Robotics is, broadly speaking, anything that involves AI being brought into the physical world. Robotics obviously being the most direct but obvious amalgamation of that.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I guess what do you got planned? Obviously, you guys deployments, trials, learning, figure out what's kind of on the radar, hiring,
all that. Honestly,
it's keeping you busy. What are you looking forward to?
Looking forward to deployments, definitely. I think looking forward to having a bigger team and having more people on board. We're hiring here, so people who are robotics research scientists, robotics research engineers, all that we've been looking forward to, and just interviewing and trying to bring people on.
Yeah, if you listen to the podcast, you automatically get a free job. Just kidding.
Slide your resume over to me and we can chat.
I hope that'd be pretty cool, dude.
That'd be pretty awesome.
It's that'd be sick.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
I doubt it, but hey,
look, at the end of the day, it's good.
Yeah. So what are the goals though for 26, 27? What's on the roadmap?
2026 deploy. Honestly, in both years, the optimal goal is deploy as many robots as you can.
Yeah.
2026, the goal is to have our own, hardware, have our own humanoid would be nice. Also having our own foundational model, also having our own research that we do, and then also having our own customers that we deploy robots into.
Yeah.
And then 2027 is all about scale for us, really. 2026 will be a lot about I'm gonna say getting everything up and running is my best way to put it, broadly speaking, right?
Yeah.
This is the type of year where we focus on getting everything up and running, get the customer pipelines, understand the safety regulations, getting everything ready for that, and then getting our own humanoids and scaling that. 2027 is about can you take the humanoids that you have and the research that you've done and the models that you've built and then also the customers that you have and scale that. I think for us, that's going to be, 2027 is going to be the biggest year for us. It's going to be, biggest in our foreseeable future, right? And then 2028,
bigger from there.
Yeah, right. So hopefully it's only bigger and bigger as we go year over year.
100%, man. Well, awesome, dude. Well, this has been awesome. I'm so excited to see all the great things you guys accomplish, and
honestly,
it's gonna be awesome, dude.
I know, and you're gonna kill it in Chicago.
Yes, sir. I'll be back in New York, so don't you worry. I'll keep you busy.
I hope so. It'll be awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, my boy.
100%.